My name is Doug Gordon, and I'm the art director of EQ Magazine. And this is a publishing company. We publish many types of magazines, technical magazines and DVD magazines, but I'm with our music group. And our company was just sold, actually, and it was called CMP, United Business Media. Now we are New Bay Media. I'm from Whittier, California, Southern California, and I was very lucky. First of all, it was during the 60s, and I think there was a larger art focus in the 60s and focus on creative programs in high schools. I was particularly lucky because I had an amazing group of students and amazing group of teachers, and I was encouraged to try out for scholarships, which I got a scholarship at CalArts. And CalArts is a big school in Los Angeles, and at the time it was right in Los Angeles. It was a much smaller school. I was a fine arts major, and so I was primarily focusing on drawing and painting and sculpture and ceramics and printmaking. However, I also had classes in illustration and kind of more commercial type art-oriented classes. To be quite honest, I should be a painter, is how I think. I think like a painter. I'm not your typical, I don't think like a designer. I'm more intuitive, I'm more instinctual. However, I've kind of flourished just for a few reasons, which I may touch on as this interview continues. The job is a production designer working for California Apparel News, which is a trade magazine in the fashion industry, and I worked in the advertising department making ads, which was very interesting and good place to start. But it was the base level. But by then, during the previous 10 years, when I was traveling around and working here and there, I had little freelance jobs that I got, dumb little but kind of great little freelance jobs that I did for stores to do their logos or ads to put in trendy magazines. And so I had a little portfolio together that I took with me to get this first job as a production designer. Magazine design, but everybody has a whole history, their whole package of what's behind them, their own personal experiences and the education they got. That always influences that process. But magazine design, once you get to the meat and potatoes of it, it's a pretty standardized process. First of all, I'm an extremely visual person. I just think in aesthetics, and that's the base, that's the beginning of my process, is I'm extremely visual. I love beauty. I kind of pride myself, and this is important, it's important in magazine design as part of the dynamic of magazine design is I'm really motivated and really interested in what's happening in design currently, and the kind of au courant, kind of what's happening and the latest things, and typeface design and photography and the latest graphic treatments. And just to be doing that really excites me. But as I said earlier in the interview, I don't think like a designer. I'm more of a painter. I think like a painter. I think like an artist. I'm not as, to think like a designer, it's often good to be very organized. My process with EQ Magazine now is I work on a computer, obviously. We work in Quark Express, which is how we do all of our page layouts. I work a lot in Photoshop, because you work in Photoshop to work with all kinds of images, usually photography, and I'll either get a photo and it'll be great, or I alter the photo or in such and such, and then I work a lot in Illustrator. So I'm primarily Quark, photography, and Illustrator. We will be switching over, just for the record, to InDesign. InDesign is the Adobe creative system, which is geared towards publishing. Our magazine, last year, we used to focus on personalities. Now we focus on gear. They're much more technical, which is fine. It's just a different, mindset. I'm going to use this cover as an example of how I started the whole process of coming up with it. About 6 months ago, and it was with David Banner, and this was our October issue. And October is Halloween, and David Banner, he's a hot hip-hop artist right now. David Banner is the comic book name for the Incredible Hulk, and that's the Incredible Hulk's everyday name. So it was obvious to us to do kind of a vague Halloween kind of flavor in this, and I just came up instantly with an idea that I thought was kind of corny, but I had seen photos of this man. We had been sent press photos of this man, so I knew that he was a black man. He was a good-looking, really kind of like striking guy, and he could give you incredible facial expressions. And I just came up with this idea of, let's get this may sound corny, but let's get an Incredible Hulk t-shirt, put it on him, and he can replicate the Incredible Hulk's face. And that's exactly what happened here. In the meantime, once I thought that, I still don't know if this man, what his personality's like, if he's willing to go along with it. We contacted the press people, and they said he would, but you know, not until the day of the shoot do you know if the shoot's going to go smoothly. A very important factor in coming up with this cover was choosing the right photographer. And that's a fun part of being an art director. And if you're particularly using photos, and particularly shooting celebrities, is kind of through experience, it's natural. You meet more and more photographers, and you get an idea of what particular skills certain photographers have. And I had a photographer in LA that was really good with personalities. So, and he could do great things with lighting. And I knew that I could, if this man was willing to go along with it, we could get this shot. So since I knew what this man looked like, and I'm using this cover as an example because it was uncannily smooth. I did this sketch before I even found the t-shirt, before I even did the shoot. I came up with this sketch as a rough idea. And I do sketch, usually for a cover, I will do sketches, because a cover is an extremely important part of the magazine. It's on the newsstand, and that's what's catching people's attention, and that's what sells the magazine. So it's a really important part of the magazine production. Very rewarding, and it's a fun job. Graphic design in general is a fun job because you are an artist, whether you're a designer or a photographer or a musician. You're rewarded by just the fact that you're creating something. You're using your thought processes and your talent and what schooling you've had, and you're coming up with a solution. And it's hard to explain how rewarding that is. It's the creative process. If you're a designer or a fashion designer or a musician, it's in your blood. You're rewarded by the actual doing of it.